Welcome to Money Talks. Am I the only one that didn't know Mike Lindell's story? Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, a man who's as synonymous with pillows as, well, pillows themselves. You know him, right? That perpetually enthusiastic, kinda disheveled dude from the infomercials? The one who looks like he just woke up from a nap on a pile of his own merchandise? Yeah, that's our guy. Beneath that boisterous exterior lies a surprisingly compelling story. This is a man who's ridden the roller coaster of life with reckless abandon, plunging from the depths of addiction to the dizzying heights of entrepreneurial success. So buckle up, folks, because we're about to dive headfirst into the wild, wacky, and surprisingly touching world of Mike Lindell. Before the fame, the fortune, and the infomercials, Mike Lindell was just a regular guy from Minnesota. He was born and raised in a small town, where everyone knew each other, and life moved at a slower pace. Born in 1961, Mike's early life was, by all accounts, pretty normal. He was the kind of kid who blended into the background with a loving family and a typical childhood. He grew up, went to school, and even tried his hand at a few different jobs. From working at a grocery store to doing odd jobs around town, Mike was always looking for ways to make a living. But there was a darkness lurking beneath the surface, a growing struggle with addiction that would soon consume his life. It was a battle he fought in silence, hidden from the world. It began, as these things often do, innocently enough. A few bets here and there, a drink with friends to unwind after a long day. A little gambling here, a little something extra to take the edge off there. What started as a way to escape the mundane quickly spiraled out of control, but slowly, insidiously, the grip of addiction tightened. It was like a shadow that followed him everywhere, growing darker and more oppressive with each passing day. Like a spider web, it ensnared him, pulling him further and further down a dangerous path. The more he struggled, the more entangled he became. Mike's addiction wasn't just a personal struggle, it began to seep into every facet of his life. His relationships suffered, his work performance declined, and his dreams seemed to slip away. Relationships frayed, opportunities vanished, and the once bright future he envisioned seemed to evaporate before his eyes. He found himself at a crossroads, unsure of which path to take. But this isn't the end of Mike's story. It's just the beginning of a remarkable journey of redemption and transformation. Mike's drug of choice? Well, it wasn't the typical fare. No, Mike wasn't drawn to the glitz and glam of cocaine or the hazy escape of heroin. His vice was far more, pedestrian. Mike Lindell, the future pillow king, was addicted to crack cocaine. Yeah, you read that right, crack. The cheap, unpredictable, and notoriously addictive cousin of cocaine. But that's the thing about addiction, it doesn't discriminate, it doesn't care about your background, your aspirations, or your future pillow empire. For Mike, crack became an escape, a way to numb the pain and pressure that had begun to mount in his life. As Mike's addiction spiraled, so too did his life. His marriage crumbled under the strain, leaving him feeling isolated and alone. His once promising ventures, including a carpet cleaning business and a bar, faltered and failed, casualties of his increasingly erratic behavior and inability to focus on anything other than his next fix. The shame and guilt gnawed at him, compounding the already debilitating effects of addiction. He became a shadow of his former self, his once infectious energy replaced by a haunted, hollowed-out shell. His family watched in horror as the man they knew disappeared before their eyes, replaced by a stranger consumed by his addiction. Mike was trapped in a vicious cycle, unable to break free from the clutches of a drug that had taken complete control. Ironically, it was during this dark period that the seeds of Mike's future success were sown. Desperate for cash to fuel his addiction, Mike turned to his entrepreneurial instincts. He began selling drugs, a dangerous and desperate move that only plunged him further into the criminal underworld. He bounced from one shady deal to the next, always looking over his shoulder, always one step ahead of the law. The thrill of the hustle, the risk of getting caught, it all fed into the addictive cycle, providing a different kind of high, a different kind of escape. But even as he embraced this dangerous lifestyle, a flicker of hope remained. Deep down, buried beneath the layers of addiction and despair, Mike knew he was capable of more. Things couldn't stay this way forever. The darkness that enveloped Mike's life was suffocating, and the weight of his choices was becoming unbearable. Every night felt like an endless loop of regret and despair, with no light at the end of the tunnel. Mike, with his foot firmly on the accelerator of self-destruction, was headed for a crash, and crash he did. The impact was both literal and metaphorical, shattering not just his car, but the fragile remnants of his life. In 2008, after years of spiraling addiction and increasingly risky behavior, Mike found himself facing serious drug charges. The courtroom became a familiar place, a stage where his failures were laid bare for all to see. The law, it seemed, had finally caught up with the future Pillow King. The gavel's echo was a stark reminder of the consequences of his actions. Facing years behind bars, his life was in shambles. The walls of his cell mirrored the walls he had built around himself, isolating him from the world and those he loved. His family, exhausted and heartbroken, could only watch as the legal system took its course. Their tears and silent prayers were a testament to the pain they felt, watching someone they loved self-destruct. This, right here, was rock bottom, the lowest point in a life that had once held so much promise. The realization hit Mike like a ton of bricks. The weight of his mistakes and the path he had taken was now undeniable. Staring down the barrel of a lengthy prison sentence, Mike had a moment of clarity. The bars on the window were a stark reminder of the freedom he had lost. He saw the wreckage of his life, the pain he had inflicted on himself and those around him, and something inside him snapped. The memories of better times, of family gatherings and laughter, contrasted sharply with his current reality. He knew he couldn't keep going down this path. The crossroads he faced was a choice between continuing his descent or fighting for a better future. He had to get clean. The journey ahead would be long and arduous, but for the first time in years, Mike felt a glimmer of hope. Now here's where the story takes an interesting turn. As Mike tells it, his path to sobriety began with a prayer. Facing the very real possibility of prison, he turned to a higher power, begging for a second chance. And wouldn't you know it, the universe in all its mysterious glory decided to listen. On the day of his sentencing, the judge offered Mike an alternative drug court. Mike grabbed that lifeline with both hands and held on for dear life. Rehab wasn't easy. Kicking a crack addiction is no walk in the park, and Mike faced countless challenges and setbacks along the way. But something had changed within him. He was determined to get better, to make amends for his past, to build a better future. He embraced the program, attending meetings, working with counselors, and confronting his demons head-on. It was during this period of intense self-reflection and recovery that the idea for MyPillow was born. One night, desperate for a good night's sleep, Mike started tinkering with his pillows, trying to create the perfect combination of comfort and support. It was an unlikely obsession, but for Mike, it became a symbol of his newfound purpose. Now you might be thinking, okay, so the guy likes pillows. That doesn't exactly scream business mogul. And you'd be right to a point. But what Mike lacked in formal business training, he more than made up for in passion, drive, and a healthy dose of Midwestern charm. He truly believed he had stumbled upon a revolutionary pillow design, one that could change the way people slept, and he was determined to share his creation with the world, even if it meant knocking on doors, setting up shop at county fairs, and peddling his wares out of the back of his car. But let's be honest, the real stroke of genius, the move that catapulted Mike Lindell and MyPillow into the stratosphere of household names, was his embrace of the infomercial. Ah yes, the infomercial, that late-night staple of dubious products and over-the-top pitches. Mike, with his infectious enthusiasm and knack for storytelling, was a natural. He poured his heart and soul, and a not insignificant amount of money, into creating those iconic infomercials. He didn't shy away from his past either. People connected with his authenticity, his vulnerability, his sheer unadulterated belief in his product. As MyPillow's popularity soared, so too did Mike Lindell's profile. He went from being the MyPillow guy to a sought-after speaker, a regular guest on Fox News, and somewhat unexpectedly, a vocal supporter of then-presidential candidate Donald Trump. He became a staunch advocate for conservative causes, using his platform to voice his opinions on everything from election integrity to the dangers of socialism. This unexpected turn thrust him further into the public eye, attracting both praise and criticism. Whatever your stance, there's no denying that Mike Lindell's journey from crack addict to pillow magnate to political firebrand is a strange and winding one. But let's not forget, amidst all the political theatrics and late-night infomercials, Mike Lindell built a genuine business empire. MyPillow, that company he started with a fistful of dollars and a head full of foam, became a household name. And not just any household name, mind you, but one synonymous with comfort, quality, and that uniquely American blend of earnestness and entrepreneurial zeal. By 2017, MyPillow was generating over $300 million in annual revenue. That's a lot of pillows, folks. Mike, the once down on his luck entrepreneur, had become a bona fide success story. a testament to the power of hard work, determination, and yes, a really good pillow. He expanded his product line beyond the original MyPillow, branching out into mattresses, sheets, towels, even pet beds. But Mike's ambitions extended beyond just building a business. He used his newfound wealth and influence to give back, supporting charities and organizations close to his heart, particularly those focused on addiction recovery and support. He even launched the Lindell Recovery Network, a platform dedicated to helping others struggling with addiction find hope and healing. It's a part of his story that often gets overlooked amidst the headlines and controversies. But for Mike, his commitment to helping others overcome addiction is deeply personal. Now, it wouldn't be a true Mike Lindell story without a healthy dose of controversy, would it? His unwavering support for Donald Trump, coupled with his outspoken views on election integrity, views that have been widely disputed and debunked, have made him a polarizing figure. He's been banned from Twitter, faced boycotts of his products, and been the subject of countless late-night jokes. But through it all, Mike has remained undeterred, his faith in his beliefs and his commitment to his values unshaken. Love him or hate him, there's no denying that Mike Lindell is a force to be reckoned with. He's a walking, talking testament to the unpredictable nature of life, a man who stared down his demons and emerged, pillow in hand, ready to take on the world. Mike Lindell's story, much like a well-stuffed MyPillow, is both oddly comforting and strangely resilient. It's a tale as American as apple pie, or maybe more accurately, as American as a late-night infomercial promising a better night's sleep. He embodies that go-getter spirit, that unshakable belief in the power of reinvention that makes America, well, America. He went from hitting rock bottom, staring down his demons in a courtroom, to building a multi-million-dollar company. He's proof positive that the American dream, however battered and bruised, is still within reach, even if it sometimes comes with a side of political controversy and a healthy dose of late-night infomercial fame. And maybe, just maybe, there's a lesson to be learned from all those pillows, from those infomercials that seem to seep into our collective subconscious. They were more than just late-night entertainment. They were a window into a world where even the most mundane objects could be sold with a smile and a wink. Maybe it's about the importance of laughter, of not taking ourselves too seriously, and finding joy in the little things. Laughter has a way of bringing people together, of breaking down barriers and making the world feel a little bit lighter, even when the world feels heavy. Mike Lindell, for all his quirks and controversies, has managed to carve out a niche for himself by embracing the absurdity of life. He's a man who understands that sometimes you just have to laugh at the chaos. Approaches life with a certain lightness, a twinkle in his eye that suggests he's in on the joke, even when it's at his own expense. This self-awareness, this ability to laugh at oneself, is a rare and valuable trait, even when it's at his own expense. He's not afraid to laugh at himself, to see the humor in his own missteps and mishaps. This kind of humility is refreshing in a world that often takes itself too seriously, to embrace the absurdity of it all, and maybe that's part of his appeal. In a society that can sometimes feel rigid and unforgiving, his willingness to be silly, to be human, is a breath of fresh air. In a world that often feels increasingly divided and polarized, where differences are highlighted more than commonalities, maybe a little laughter is what we all need. A reminder that life is messy, unpredictable, and sometimes downright bizarre. So why not embrace the chaos, find the humor in the unexpected, and let go of the need for everything to be perfect? Find the humor in the unexpected and maybe, just maybe, invest in a decent pillow? After all, a good pillow can be the difference between a restless night and a restful one. Find the humor in the unexpected and maybe, just maybe, invest in a decent pillow. After all, as the MyPillow guy himself might say, a good night's sleep can solve a lot of problems. And who knows, maybe it can even bring a little more laughter into our lives. A good night's sleep can solve a lot of problems. So, let's laugh a little more, stress a little less, and maybe, just maybe, have a pillow fight or two along the way. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing content. See you next time on Money Talks.